I was born on October 24th, 2001, exactly 54 years after the United Nations were created. And this event was historical. They believed that this would be life-changing. Now, after the creation of the United Nations, there had been 13 other official wars, 13 other independent events that have devastated lands and communities and families. Now, I'm going to conduct a little experiment. Please raise your hands, those of you who have heard about the Second World War before today. Thank you. You may lower your hands. Now, how about those of you who have heard about the war in Afghanistan before today? Thank you. You may lower your hands. How about those who have heard about the Bosnian War? Please raise your hands. Thank you. You may lower your hands. And finally, those of you who have heard about the war in Kosovo, please raise your hands. You may lower your hands. As you can see, the great majority of you has heard about the Second World War, but not nearly as many of you have heard about either the Bosnian or the Kosovo War. And one might think that the reason behind this is simple. We cannot compare a war that shook and affected the whole entire world with wars that just involved 1, 2, or 3 parties. But here's the catch. World War II did indeed have a huge global impact, but it did not necessarily affect each and every single country in the world. And yet, it is still discussed 54 years later in every single nation. And it is logical. An event as overriding and consequential such as World War II must not only be remembered, but also discussed. But there is a war much more larger than World War II happening right now. And this war literally affects each and every single country in the world, with no exception whatsoever. Now, this war affects every single person and every single living and breathing thing. And yet, no one seems to talk about it, no one seems to know it's happening, and no one seems to be acting alarmed, as if we were in a war. And I'm talking about our war on climate change. It's pretty obvious that if there is one thing that every single person on Earth has in common, it is that we all need clean water and air to survive. And climate change is taking this away from us. In this statement, I'm completely oversimplifying all that climate change actually encompasses. But I'm not here today to talk to you specifically about climate change, but rather on about how it is most likely going to be humanity's killing blow, and we didn't do anything to fight it. Think about it. The vast majority of scientists agree that the main causes of global warming are man-made. And they have also concluded that we have approximately 11 years to stop a climate change catastrophe never before seen in our world's history. 11 years. So, our careless and ignorant actions have guaranteed the likelihood of my generation's children and their children not knowing a world without massive and lethal natural disasters. So, again, I'm not here to talk about climate change and what is going to happen in this next 11 years. I'm not here to discuss the events of those 13 other wars. I'm not here to talk about the fact that we're facing the 6th mass extinction on Earth, and I'm not here to talk about the fact that there is more money being spent on machine guns than on education worldwide. I am here today because of the fact that we either have no idea that all of this is going on, or we have completely ignored it. We are responsible for what's going on right now in the world. And we have become indifferent. We're acting as if every single thing is fine, because for many of us it is. We have an education, we have jobs, we have food on our tables, we are fine. But the truth is that our reality might not be the same as our neighbors. We're coexisting in a world where everything revolves around ourselves and the people we care about. We're surviving on information that has been delivered and given to us, when we only truly care about what is important to ourselves. We have been raised this way. We do whatever we have to do in order to protect ourselves, to safeguard ourselves, to defend our best interests. We are selfish. And when it comes to standing up for what is right, and when it comes to the bigger picture, we are selfish. And we are blind to the bigger picture. And this has apparently worked for us, humans, for a while. Somehow we have made ourselves prosper. But this has been at the cost of others. And the problem is that we're not aware of the price that others are paying for us. We're not aware of the millions of lives being lost to starvation while we leave food on our plates. We're not aware of the thousands of little girls being sold or forced to sell their bodies for others to profit. We're not aware of the thousands of little boys being forced to choose between carrying a weapon or choosing work before they even know how to count or write. We're not aware of the hundreds of innocents being marginalized globally because of the color of their skin, because of their religious beliefs, or because of their sexual orientation. We are not aware that it could have just as easily been us in their shoes. And most importantly, we're not aware that inconceivable is the price of our tranquility, of our comfort, of our ignorance. The price is too high. We have the power to look at what is going on in the world, but we are not aware. So the reason that I am here today is because we need to wake up. I am here today because we may no longer remain unaware. I am here today because past generations may have signed our death sentences, but we still have the option and the power to appeal. I am here today because I speak in the name of a community that has no race, religion, or social standing. I speak on behalf of us, children. I am here today because the world is in trouble and we have the tools and the power to save it. I am here today because I want to invite each and every single person, not only here, not only now, but every single person who ever hears about this talk, to look, really look at what is going on in the world. Look beyond your own problems and burdens and focus on issues that you believe are important on a more global and selfless perspective. Look at what has been right in front of you the whole time. Break out of the shackles of uncertainty and ignorance that have been keeping us in a fake reality. The journey will not be easy, and it is a dozen times easier to keep living in a picture-perfect world where everything bad is blurred and the only clear path is yours. So open your eyes and start walking without that blindfold that you have been wearing for your whole life. The journey will not be easy. It will be devastating because the truth, for once, will no longer be sugar-coated. The truth is not pretty, nor is it easy to process, but that is why we have to do this. We have to be able to look clearly through our own eyes. A life lost is a life lost, regardless of it being lost in the Second World War or in the Kosovo War. It is in our hands to choose justice above all else. So why are we here today? It is in our hands to choose to do what is right before all else. Our clock is ticking, but we have a shot. And these 11 years, they represent opportunity. They represent a chance. We stand a chance. Why are we here? Not here, not right now. Why are we here on this earth? Well, one person might not be able to turn the tide on a war, but one person might definitely be the force that creates that first ripple. And this is not a war. This is the world as we know it being reborn. This is a transformation that must start at our very core. I am here today because I want you to feel it in your bones so you can breathe it in. Change is on its way and we are it. Our world is changing and we must change alongside it. So, what I want you to take away from this talk is that we need to become leaders. We need to become activists. We need to become potential figures of this earth. We need to become catalysts. Become critical. Just because our system works for a few, it doesn't mean that it works for all. It does not mean that it is okay. So don't be afraid of change. Be what you want the world to be. Show the world what you believe it should be. Because no matter how many times anyone tries to break your spirit, you have the power to believe in yourself and to know that indifference is not what you will choose. We have the power to know that every single thing that we have done that is good will never be taken away from us. It has been given to the whole world. It is ours. They will never be able to strip you of your morals if you do not give up on them. You are a person. We are together. And together, we will be able to make a significant change. Because together, this will not be a fool's errand. Together, we actually do stand a chance. So change your perspective and change the way you believe things should be fixed. So whether it is the fight against climate change, the fight against any sort of hate that you see in the world, the fight for education, the fight for peace, or the fight against indifference, know that you have to fight in its name. Because you are fighting in your name. Become a catalyst for change. Thank you.